You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. We have special guests today. We're going to be talking with Bashar, Abraham, and Seth. For those of you who have never heard of these three, they are the sources that represent the body of knowledge that is the foundation for the subtle energy world. Wow, that's pretty cool. Not to mention subtle energy world, consciousness, and the study of metaphysics.
In contemporary times.
In contemporary times. Thank you very much. Many of you already know these three are non-physical entities. You'll be shocked to hear what they already told us. This is so exciting to us, everyone. We are stepping into a realm that Jason and I have been working in for quite some time, but we finally got the message. It's time for us to step out of our shells.
And put it forward. So that's what you're getting today.
And it's the beginning of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Exciting. Jason, let's please explain what the famous entities are channeling. Explain what we did.
Well, they're not channeling, we're channeling.
I apologize. Yeah. Yes, I'm so excited, you guys.
So there's three of them: Bashar, Abraham, and Seth.
Correct.
And the reason these three are so important is because they're the ones who have quite a following, frankly. You know, you can see it on YouTube. You can see it, the numbers of people that they have been influenced.
Correct.
Her mother was talking to her when you were a teenager. Older than that, I don't.
A little tiny bit older.
Yeah.
But we talked about things even when I was a teenager.
The Seth books.
Yes.
And so Seth started in 1963. That's 60 years ago plus.
Correct.
And they're still going. So the information that they put out was timeless.
Correct.
It was channeled by Jane Roberts, and
Jane Roberts. It was for Seth.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll talk about all three, but
okay.
So Seth identifies as an energy personality. That's how she called him a he. We have a little different take on it. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
An energy personality essence, no longer focused on physical matter. He presents a vast, intricate of cosmology, delving into the nature of reality, consciousness, the soul, the multi-dimensional dimensionality of existence.
Mm-hmm.
His teachings are often philosophical, detailed, intellectual, with a focus on the power of belief and the creation of personal reality. So that's who Seth was. It's a biggie here on Earth because it's infected so many people.
Yes.
Abraham refers to as a group, as a collective.
Group.
Yes,
that's right.
As group consciousness from the non-physical dimension.
Mm-hmm.
They present as a unified field of consciousness and focus on the law of attraction and emotional guidance. And for those of you that don't know, The Secret was based on the law of attraction.
That came out. It came through Esther Hicks. And
but it was someone else that did the law of attraction, and I don't remember her name offhand, but it was
that I didn't know.
The source I think was Abraham. And then Bashar, who describes himself as a multi-dimensional extraterrestrial being from the future, specifically involved in preparing humanity for extraterrestrial contact. He speaks of his civilization on another planet. So it's all kind of the same, but it's not. And they're very interesting to talk to.
Very much.
We pre-recorded the channeling session
Yes, we did.
And and frankly, not to have a spoiler, but there was so much that we did. We're going to do this in the following show also. It's
Yes.
sort of a part two, and we don't know what's going to happen. Um, we don't like to channel while we're in front of the camera, so to speak, because
It's very difficult.
there's time pressure.
Correct.
You don't see it, but I have a timer here that's running on the screen because I've got 12 minutes, and after that, then the producer, sends the hook in, and that's it. So it's not that big a deal, but it does create some
Distractions,
distractions.
what I
Yeah.
would say. Yes.
So um,
Well, so Jason, I'd like to know what you've talked about what's happening on today's show, but not we're not giving details quite yet.
we have no agenda, so we'll just start asking questions and see where it leads.
Right.
The way we channel is like an interpreter does, where the interpreter is supposed to stand off to the side and interpret, but let the personality of whatever the person who they're interpreting for come forward.
Correct.
We're not that formal. She'll often jump in and ask a question herself.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Forgot about that. Sure.
and the truth is, I can hear what's being said also.
Yes.
I'm channeling at the same time. She's typically has her intuition is far more detailed in this case. Mine is more geared toward the big picture with less detail. Hers is more detailed. It works really well. Frankly, we do the same thing at a party.
Yeah.
At a party, she'll
True.
go in because she's the extrovert talking, "Hi, how you doing?" Talking to everybody,
Yeah.
good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm much more likely to stand back and
And wait for that moment to jump in.
wait for the moment to
ever
jump
there
in.
is
Yes.
one. Yes.
And usually she'll bring me over or provide the introduction, and then I'm there. So
Yes.
it's just how we function as a couple. So it's very much very unique to us, but it's also it really works for us.
Yes.
And when we do energy work, we don't just channel these three. We go all over the place and get all sorts of information. And if you've
Correct.
been watching for the show for a while, you know that, and a lot of that um, has you've already heard. If you've been watching the show for a while, you've already heard a lot of the things that we say.
Yes.
But what's really fascinating is what they say about what we say. So
That was very surprising, and
Yes.
I have to tell you, it was well, it was amazing in my opinion. But
Yes.
I just want you to stay tuned through the whole show. Listen to everything. It's definitely worth it. By the way, if you have questions,
Post them in the
please-
comments.
please
Yes.
post them, because first off, we would like to take a look, and we will ask the questions of Bashar, Abraham, and Seth. But we also,
As time allows,
I was just going to say, as time allows.
I've got a feeling we're going to need a lot more time. We'll deal with that coming forward. So
Yes, and there's really things that we're learning along the same line as you about. Well, actually, we already know how to channel. We just haven't figured out how to completely channel all of them. So
that didn't make any sense. But there's so much information coming at us
exactly
that we have to filter it through. It's like a channeling triage.
Yeah, well, and sometimes it can take some
Yeah.
time. Well, then let me ask the question, Jason. Why is channeling so important?
Well, this channeling is important
Okay.
because we believe that one of the reasons that energy work and consciousness has been so discredited,
Ugh,
this is our personal belief, but we feel very strongly about it
correct.
because it's currently unknown how to truly evolve and make real progress.
Yes.
It's been said by these three, and this way it comes through, that you just raise your vibration. And And that's not how you do it. It's there's so much more to it than that. And the yogis that you hear about all the time, they may be involved, but they can control their bodily functions. That's not necessarily going to work for the modern world. And our approach in creating the ecosystem approach is to help everyone evolve in the modern technological world in the way that is practical and useful for everyday life.
And that is so very, very, very important. So, Jason, what is the summary of this show?
Today, we're channeling the three extraterrestrial beings or energies who are responsible for a major leap in knowledge of the masses of consciousness and subtle energy work. They are coming to us because of our evolution and because we understand the missing pieces that were left out of the original material. This channeling is very important because the Earth needs the evolution of a critical mass of people to evolve so it can collectively move forward. We see these videos all the time where people are saying, "Oh, it's going to happen now." Well, that's not 100% true either.
Correct.
Our objective with the ecosystem approach is to help everyone evolve in the modern technological world in ways that are practical and useful for everyday life.
Yes. So don't don't just don't just go, oh, this is no big deal. Everyone, this is a big deal.
Yes.
In the next segments, we're going to start talking about these evolved entities and ask questions and even engage with them about what they've said and especially how their information has been received here on Earth and why it wasn't complete. For the next 3 segments, there won't be a regular intro. We'll just keep recording until the end. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to start talking to these evolved entities and ask questions and even engage with them about what they've said and especially how their information has been received on Earth and why it wasn't complete. Jason, how do we do channeling? Let's talk about that first.
We're just going to do it right now,
Okay.
right here, and it's we're not as theatrical as what you may have expected. You know, I've never seen Patricia's eyes roll back in her head, and or you know, weird sounds, that sort of thing. It's very conversational. It's just like we're talking to an imaginary person. And what she's really good at is just she talks to me about what she's talking to them about.
Correct.
And then I ask the questions. Sometimes she'll ask a question for
Okay.
based
For
on
clarity.
based on the conversation.
Sure.
She'll tell me what they say or what they don't say.
Correct.
And sometimes she'll mimic how they say it. So
Yes,
it's all those things, and we just asked.
And by the way, I'm completely conscious the entire time. I've never not been conscious.
There's something about being possessed when you channel that we object to. We don't
It's
like to
not-
be possessed ever.
No.
We've seen possessions. We talked about my mother who had dementia, and she was possessed all the time. It was not a pretty thing. It's not human. It's not healthy.
No.
And I wouldn't suggest it for anybody, frankly.
I agree.
So, but when they come through and it can be very compelling. So
Right.
we're just going to do it. Let's see what happens. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what they're going to say.
No.
And we're going to start. We asked just a minute ago if Bashar was willing to talk to us, and he said,
I've been waiting a long time to talk to you.
"Okay." So here we go,
Okay.
and we'll just follow along. Have fun.
Okay. And I'm hoping for good information as always. So this is a good thing. So
So my first question to
Thank you.
Bashar is why he's anxious to talk to us.
well, because Give me a second. Because in the past, there were questions asked, and which is great. Audience asked questions, and Daryl would ask, sometimes repeated, or it would just come through. But no one asked the question about the information that had already been given. Was it complete? Was it, and not that it wasn't valid. That's not the right thing. But was the information complete?
It was like the last chapter was left off of a mystery.
That's exactly right.
And we know this.
Yes.
And we should talk a little bit about Bashar because
okay.
When you saw him, and we've been so just so you know, we've been having these ongoing conversations with Bashar, Abraham, and Seth.
Yes.
And we're starting to get to know them.
Yes. We're forming a relationship, kind of, and we're going to report on that. So you told me, and I think this is fascinating, because we've been watching some, and frankly, not a lot. We're not really that versed in what they've said already. No, we are not.
But some with Daryl Anka.
Yes.
And some channeling that he's done, and
meaning with an audience, and he was on I'm going to say it looked like a stage to me. That sort of thing. So go ahead.
And you said there's 3 of them. So let's talk about that. That's the first question I have for Bashar.
Okay.
What is this thing about there's 3 of you? How would you describe that for people here on Earth?
Let's start with, there are 3 of them. They are separate entities, but they're also connected. In other words, they look to me as if one is on top of the other. They're not weighing each other down. It's not like they're in each other's space, but they are all connected.
By seeing it on top of each other, is that a form of evolution?
Well, it's, as I was told, it's Bashar 1 is on the bottom, Bashar 2 is on the top, and Bashar 3 is in the middle,
yeah.
And then Bashar 3 is on the top. Well, that's great. What does it mean? That was my question. What does it mean?
And who are we talking to?
And we are actually talking to all the Bashars right now.
Okay.
And in that, let me just step back for just a moment. In all of that, each one of them has a perspective that matters for what's going on in the world right now. And this is kind of how we started doing this. We wanted some answers about what was going on. And basically it did start with, quote, the age of Aquarius.
So why are they coming to us? Why are they even talking to us? Why not? Daryl's been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
We call him by his first name just because that's what it is. But we've never met him.
No, we have not. Frankly,
there's no desire to meet him. So that's us earthly beings. So
okay.
So why is he talking to us? He can talk to Daryl.
He can, but there's a question Daryl doesn't want to answer.
Okay.
And Daryl isn't hearing the question, and Daryl isn't. Daryl does have a personality of his own. Let me just say it that way.
We all do, of course.
I was just going to say.
And there's a filter when you have your own personality.
Absolutely. And so understand that. None of what we're talking about here or any information is about putting anybody down or being better or competing. That's not what this is about. This is about information that the earth needs. Everybody needs to understand.
So with that said, we put our egos aside.
Absolutely.
We're trying to, and that's not the right way of putting it. It's hopefully our desire to help the earth evolve is greater than any sort of low-level ego needs that any of us have.
That is correct,
including Daryl. But that's not for this.
And us. I just want to say, if any of that comes out, that's not what our intention is whatsoever.
So why do you want to talk to us? So we can hear you're implying that we can hear the question. Is that true?
Yes, I can hear the question.
No, we can hear the question. Why are you talking to us?
Excuse me.
Why are the Bashars talking to us?
Okay. Because there's information that we can hear, both of us can hear. Yes, it came through me first, but we heard the information, and are we ready for this? That the information that Daryl has given and others have given is not complete. And this not complete part leaves all of us, what did you just say a few minutes ago about
The last chapter.
the last chapter of a great mystery? And that's not okay. We need this information in order to evolve. We need this information in order to go on. And we need to, and this just came in loud and clear, stop doing self-destruct. This self-destruct that, this path that we have been on for way too long, it's time to stop it. We didn't come here to self-destruct. We came here to evolve. And for the last few decades, there has not been a lot of evolution going on.
So Bashars,
That's
saying
fine.
plural.
They're fine.
Why? But then what? You haven't still answered the question. Why us? Why are you talking to us? There are a lot of people that can channel out in the world.
Oh,
A lot of intuitives.
That's exactly
psychics,
right.
All that. Why us?
well, because you and I do have the evolution that, and we've worked on ourselves by using what we do, the ecosystem approach, and it comes at their information from a different perspective. It makes there's a quality about it.
Well, and I'm talking to the Bashars now, but
Yes, you are.
It can seem self-serving. Here we are channeling. Why will the audience believe what we're saying here? That we're channeling Bashars and saying what we're saying. It sounds very self-serving. How can people know they can trust this information? And how can they know they can trust the information that you've already given?
Okay.
Now, those are two questions. Let's take the first one.
Okay.
Okay.
And the first question is that if they take a moment to stop and listen, if they take a moment to listen to what we're talking about, they're going to go, oh, I missed something? Oh, something was missed in the communication. And by the way, it happens all the time. Do not think that I'm superior because I heard the information. Not in the least. I was just ready to hear the information because I've removed enough negative energy, and I'm doing it this way and this way. I've
We've been
removed
talking
enough
about that, yeah.
negative energy to actually hear what Bashars, all three of them, are saying. And by the way, the Bashars have, I say them like they're a family. Well, in a way they are. They have this wonderful sense of humor. It can be a little sarcastic. Wait a minute, I need to say this. But it's also really important that we all understand that it's part of who they are.
Well, and your personality always filters the personality of the channeler always filters.
That's correct.
What comes through. And I want to say this to Bashar to just set the right tone.
Okay.
But when I've watched them being channeled through Daryl, I didn't like them. They offended me. Now, just so you know, Patricia's supposedly the diplomat in between us, and I can be more brash, especially when it comes to this stuff.
Yes, it's true.
But I just wanted to say, I don't, to the Bashars, I don't like you. Is that Daryl or is that you? How's that for blunt?
Wow. Straight out?
Yeah.
It's Daryl's sensationalism. It's that simple. Because Daryl has the ability to gain the information. The bottom line is that he
he has a filter.
That's a really nice way of saying it. He does have a filter, and he's struggling. Now, I can guarantee you that Daryl's going to come back. He's going to come back, and he's going to fire on definitely, well, you and then me. And I'm going to say to Daryl right out of the gate, Daryl, that's not what this is about. This is about helping we, you, me, Jason, Esther Hicks, and
Jane Roberts.
Thank you, Jane Roberts. We came here. We have a purpose, and this purpose does not need to be
sidetracked with
well
low level ego. But
No.
we're gonna get to that.
Yes, we will.
And frankly, I still haven't heard. I'm trying to. It's. I already know the answer.
I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid to speak it out. Let me just say
Okay.
it that way.
And this is
And that's
Patricia.
me. That's
Yes,
me. I was
okay.
just going to say that's
So-
me talking.
So don't be afraid. They want to hear.
I don't want to hurt anyone. That's not my way. The bottom line is
Let
that,
it go, sweetie.
all right. The bottom line is that it's time, because we let this negative energy go on for too long, and I'll explain the negative energy in 1 minute. We let this go on for too long, and we are going to self-destruct, and we're going to destroy each other, and that is not okay with me.
Yeah, but why us?
Okay,
What's
us.
what's so unique about us?
Okay, I started to explain.
You said evolution, but people don't understand that.
That's true. What Jason and I do is we have the ecosystem approach, and we have created this because we saw that there is this negative energy that bends the way people see things, that it covers up, it
Distorts.
and taints the way people see things, and even the way people hear things. And it's
I know you're trying to describe this. This is you talking.
this is me.
Okay. I want to hear what they have to say.
One more thing. It's not okay anymore. That's me. That's me talking right now. It's not okay.
About this distortion and negative
No,
energy.
it is
Okay.
not okay. All right, let me Bashar 1 basically is saying, that's the one that's on the bottom. That's the
First one.
first
Okay.
level, is basically saying, then, well, and he said it just like this: my gig will be gone if this information comes out. My gig will be gone. I disagree with you, Bashar 1.
Okay, that's his. Okay, what about Bashar 2 and Bashar 3? Why are they coming to us?
Because Bashar 2 has the answer. Because we can see with greater clarity than anyone else around that they can connect with. And they know that I heard them. And
Okay.
that was the part that was so important. Bashar 3, he's a little grumpy, is or not as forthcoming. And
He reminds me of an old grandpa who says, don't chatter to me. I just, you know.
yeah, just facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
And the facts are great. The problem is not everybody deals with just the facts. There's emotions involved here. People's lives are involved here, and it's not okay.
Well, and this is me talking, but
Okay.
I'm asking Bashar 2. This isn't. I can't imagine this filter is that strong. Why can't Daryl push this information through? What is it about this that we understand that people on Earth or Daryl can't seem to get?
Ego.
Yeah.
Ego and fear and loud and clear, Bashar 3, the old rules that we've all been trained with.
Yes.
And by the way, I need to say this. This is me, Patricia, talking. We're not going to ask anyone to do anything that we haven't done ourselves. And we know that this works. Well, They're talking through me right now. And so stay tuned
What
for
is it?
all of
What is
this.
it about? Do they understand the ecosystem approach that we've been talking about all these? I mean, this is show number 354. So
Yes.
we put out a lot of these,
Yes.
and so f- 354. How come? What is it about the ecosystem approach that no one else has been talking about? What is it?
We don't have the ego. We don't let our ego get in the way.
Okay, what else?
When you remove negative energy, you gain a clarity. When you remove negative energy, you can see the actual truth of a situation, about a question or about whatever's going
No
on.
one really talks about negative energy.
No.
They talk about the shadow self, but we never thought that was very helpful because it didn't really get
Well,
to the point.
first off, it's eerie.
Yeah, it's
And,
eerie, and
and eerie is not what's needed here.
so doesn't anybody else understand negative dark energy like we
No,
do?
no, they don't.
Who,
Not
who
that
is,
I.
who is saying that?
Well, first off, I am because I see it. Bashar 3 is going, oh, well, and Abraham just turned around and said to the presenter of Abraham turned around and said to the rest of his group, why haven't we seen this before? Why don't we know about this? Why haven't we talked about this? And they're all kind of saying, we don't know. We don't know. Now, Esther,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
Seth.
Seth, excuse me. Seth, Seth is saying that there wasn't time to bring it forward
Because Jane Roberts died,
because of the death.
and in fact, well, let me ask, and so just so you keep it all straight, Seth is coming forward now, and Abraham showed up.
Yes.
So it's like talking to a small group.
Yes,
and everybody
it is.
wants to talk.
It is, yes, yes, yes. Well, everybody wants to talk, but nobody wants to speak up and speak out and speak. I'm going to say, no, it's not about the. It is about the truth. I'm sorry. It is. It is about the truth. But they don't want to. Nobody wants to rock the boat because everything has been set.
So what is the boat? I
the
need
boat
I
is
need that
it's
to be more
time to tell the truth. It
about
is
what?
about negative energy,
What about negative energy?
how destructive it is. Pay attention. It's gonna take the world out, and that's exactly what this. I'm up on a high horse.
Who's
Patricia and Seth.
Okay.
We're both up here, and when I get upset, everyone sometimes I'll cry. This high horse is there wasn't enough time. She died. There and yet Jane is still with us. I'd like everyone to know that. It's so important to know. Yes, I'm talking at Jason,
yeah.
but and Jason grounds me, everyone. That's Patricia speaking. The bottom line is that this negative energy is about to destroy us. It's about to destroy this planet. And we came here with an understanding that there is a large handful of us that are we're here to make a difference, and we've gotten sidetracked by the negative energy that we came here to take out.
So let's be more specific, okay?
That's great.
Here we go. All three of them have said in some form or another, you create your own reality.
Okay.
So what is that? What does it have to do? I mean, why do we create negative energy? Well, I mean, it doesn't.
We didn't create negative energy. We did not create negative energy. The negative energy came from an outside source.
Well, and I've heard this from Bashar and I believe Abraham that in the past that there's some sort of the definition of things that happen in the world that are negative just
Are here for teaching.
it doesn't make sense to me because it doesn't encompass the gravity of how difficult it is. And I guess I'm trying to get them to say what it is because and you're trying to filter it. Patricia's trying to filter it. Don't do that. I want them. I want the audience to hear this. Um, you know, you create your own reality. Is that not true?
It is true. It is true. But there are
There's a
other
but.
there are other pieces that were left out of the conversation, that were put aside, because then it wouldn't have been.
These aren't small pieces.
No, they are not small pieces, because for each one of us, when we create our own reality, when we don't see the negative energy, things like cancer are created. Things like
That's what happened to Jane Roberts.
That's exactly what happened to
She
Jane.
told us a story the other day, and I think this is worth repeating. It's really
Okay.
pretty interesting. But we're going to run out of time, and
Okay.
I'm going to take another 12 minutes after this to do some more. But we're going to start there with Jane Roberts and her cancer and what happened exactly.
Okay.
So
You know what, everyone? Stay tuned.
yes,
Join us. Have a friend come with you.
yes. Here we go. Okay, we're back.
We're back.
We're channeling, and we're going to start off the story about Jane Roberts and her death with cancer.
Yes.
Now, just so you know, we started channeling Seth.
Yes.
Jane Roberts popped right in there. There's a real connection.
Truly.
We see Jane and Seth as both female. Obviously, Jane was female, but Seth is female. Abraham and the Bashars are male.
More male. Yes.
For what that's worth. But here we go. So I want to talk to Seth.
Okay.
I feel, I know that it didn't seem right to me that you were talking about creating your own reality, and you're talking about it, and all of a sudden the person you're channeling dies of cancer. Couldn't she have created her own reality of health and that sort of thing? Just explain that to us.
Okay.
And what does that have to do with us?
What it has to do with, and this is the reason, I'm going to say it this way. She came to us.
Who's she?
Seth came to us. And, but she brought Jane, and she brought Jane for a reason, because she wanted Jane to really understand that we have the piece of the puzzle that she needed all along.
Yeah.
And here's something that Jason and I have figured out, and I want to make sure we have the time for this. But we have figured out that things like cancer, they start long before they ever show up in a physical body. For the most part, granted, it's, each person his own, let's say it that way. But what we see is that cancer is started from negative energy.
And so tell me about Jane then.
Jane is, hers...
What happened to Jane? Why did she get,
Because she had been abused early on in her life, and she couldn't deal with it.
And that was the beginning?
That was the beginning. In other words, she was basically told, like so many other women with cancer, that have been abused, that it was always their fault. They caused the abuse.
And that's that belief was the cancerous seed
That is
started.
Exactly right.
That took years and years and years to manifest.
That's exactly right. And by the way, she tried, she fought, she did everything she could that she knew how to do, but she didn't. She always thought it was just her fault, that she was the only one. But the truth is, there are millions out there, and you can tell I'm not happy with it.
So then that's Patricia.
You bet.
So, and I know that, and we've been talking about that, but for today I want to talk to Seth. Okay?
All right.
Seth, why didn't you help her? Why didn't you give her the
She couldn't hear it. She couldn't. The negative energy blocked Seth from telling Jane that this was negative energy. Jane
And how to
couldn't,
get rid of it,
and
and
how to
any
get
of that.
all of it. She couldn't hear it because she couldn't get out of the stuck
So,
believing that it was her fault.
so Seth, why are you talking to us?
Because you have answers that have not been answered yet.
So why do we have the answers? I mean,
Because of the clearing, because of the ecosystem approach, we have removed enough negative energy for, we have a light that people, entities are seeing around us. And they want to talk to us. They want the information, because not only are we struggling with this negative energy here, but there's a struggle going on the other side as well.
and I want to get to that. That's a
All right.
really big thing for me. I know that because we're here on Earth, that we see things in a way that's much more clear
Yes.
than any entity Seth, Abraham, or the Bashars could see.
That's correct.
You know, and
And by the way, none of what we're talking about, I need to jump in and say this. This is Patricia. None of what we're talking about is lofty. It's practical. It's down to earth.
it's how to live your life. Because
It's-
for Jane, her purpose was to channel Seth,
That's
and
correct.
it was cut short because she didn't understand some practical things to do for the cancer. And we're going to talk. We've talked about that. We'll talk
Right.
some more about that.
will.
We're going to do that. But so Jane and
Jane or Seth?
Seth, I'm sorry. We need to understand this, and I'm pushing this a little bit, but
All right.
you know, it sounds egotistical and self-serving on our part. You know, that all of a sudden here we are in 2025 and saying, hey, we know more than Jane Roberts was able to give you. We know more than what Esther Hicks is able to give you, or
Even Daryl Onka.
Yep.
Yes.
So help us with that. I mean, how are people going to believe? We have this information. We've been talking about it for a long time. It hasn't, I've noticed that when we started talking to you guys and communicating to you guys, because you already have a following here on Earth, that people are starting to take notice, where before, when we said it, that it seemed to be that it didn't seem to land the same way.
Or register.
Yes.
And the answer is that egos
Yes.
get in the way.
I get that.
And people struggle with change. The you create your own reality
Was very attractive.
was very attractive, and you what you manifest is very attractive. Absolutely.
But talking about negative energy is kind of a downer.
Not is not
People don't invite us to parties,
but and yet people love to be around us.
Yes.
Because we don't carry a lot of that negative energy anymore. Granted, we still have work to do. Do not misunderstand me, okay? But that was me, Patricia. The bottom line is that we have so much more information, and Seth, Abraham, and all the Bashars, they have more information. And yes, there's a little reluctance, absolutely, but they're willing to come forward. They are willing to, because that's not only their job, but they're going to help us do our job, and they're going to help us help Daryl, Esther, and Jane finish their jobs.
So just, we're almost running out of time again.
We are.
We're going to do another part of this. We're going to do part 2. It'll be our next show. And I just want to say, if this is interesting to you, if you want to know about this, go to our YouTube channel right now, the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia Rohn. And like us for this show, please, and subscribe.
Wait, I was going to say subscribe. Yes.
And tell your friends.
Yes.
Tell your friends.
Definitely.
I think that that's a commercial. I want.
I'm okay with the commercial.
I know Abraham talked about this. that there's something that there's an energy that can be put out that so people can validate for themselves. And I'm going to keep that for the next show, but that a way of, for you personally, if you're listening right now, to get some sort of validation that, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. And it's
well, I'm going to just say, take a look around the world and see all the darkness that's going on. You can be part of the solution.
Well, and if you believe in positive mental attitude and all those things that are just kind of off, and we've been talking about that for a lot of time. You know, it's funny, a lot of our current clients say, well, you say things that just are so much different than what everybody else says.
Right.
And it's because we have that perspective that comes from our own evolution that we've worked really, really hard over 25 years to get.
Well,
but we know, because we started, that we can show you how to do it.
Well, and
our job, sorry.
That's all right.
Our job is not to be the gurus, not to replace Daryl or Esther or even Seth, Abraham, and Bashar's or Jane or any of that, but is to show you how you can have your own ability to connect and know the truth for yourselves. And that's what's not there. That's just wasn't. That's just part of the problem.
Absolutely.
So
and I'm gonna just say, stay tuned for the next show, and the shows beyond that, because I've also been channeling someone else.
Oh yeah, we should. Yeah, and that'll come out next time.
Yes, it will.
There's so many. I likened it to in one of our past shows. You know, if you have the ability to connect to the non-physical dimension, it's like an internet that is beyond what we can even conceive as human beings. But why would if you have access to the internet, why would you just go to one website? Or, you know, Seth, why would we just listen to you? Why would we just listen to Abraham? Why would we just listen to the Bashars? We have at our fingertips.
We do
everything that's out there right now. And by the way, this other one that came through, we're going to start talking about star seeds, and she's a Pleiadian. So if you've heard what that is, we'll describe.
Join
that
us, everyone.
Greater clarity, but I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to experiment with, normally when we channel, we don't do it this way. We do it in a way that's much more comfortable for us. And we're going to see if we can figure out a way to record that, and so you guys can see it.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
And take care, everyone.
Yeah. Subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.